Thank you for that question, actually, because I'm very passionate about this one aspect. And I think that the village has met all standards that were laid out. Now, when those standards were laid out, I'm not sure. But as you all know, in the last decade, not to mention the last 4 to 5 years, communication platforms have changed dramatically and continue to change dramatically. And one of the things that we need to do is to meet people where they are and communicate with people where they are. And most of all, make it easy for people to be able to understand the information and then to interact with the elected officials and the village staff. I know that with the criticism you're talking about, I know that we've had spoken to a lot of residents. We've put out even a survey about it where we had 505 people respond to it in a short amount of time, and over 95% of them said that they didn't feel that they were properly communicated about things that were going on in the village. Now, I don't think that that's necessarily because the village wasn't trying to communicate it, but it's because the way people communicate has changed, and the village hasn't changed its platforms to be able to communicate with people. Another reason about how we need to change things, and I'll show you. I actually brought something. So, do you know what this is? This entire packet, you know what that is?
No.
That is one packet for one village meeting that comes out 48 hours prior to the meeting.
Right.
So imagine being a single mom who has worked all day, then came to pick up the kids, and then came home. She wants to be involved in the community, but in order to be able to properly understand what's happening, she has to sit down and read this within 48 hours as the kids are screaming in order to be able to fully understand and then be at the village meeting in order to bring up her concerns. Or imagine being the young couple. You know, one of the reasons we moved here is Lake Zurich was voted as one of the best places for young families to start their families here. So typically young families, you have both the husband and the wife are working. The kids are in daycare. And again, when you get home from work, especially if you're involved with kids and other sporting events and things that you do, this is what you have to read. And you have to know where to go to find this in order to go through it. Actually, when I read through this, see my tabs, I had a Google search like 90% of the words in here because I'm not a trained attorney, just to understand what's happening. So this is where I think the criticism is coming from. It's not so much that the village isn't communicating, but they're not communicating necessarily in a way where people can understand it, and they're not making it easy to be able to get involved in this. I would recommend that we still put this out, because this is extremely important. This, by all means, needs to go out, but maybe there's a Cliff's Notes version of this on the website, a one-pager where it says, here's what's being proposed. Here, in the village staff's opinion, in our vetting, are the pros. Here, in our opinion, are the cons. This is the document that supports the pros and the cons, and maybe even have a thumbs up or thumbs down. As simple as you do on all social media sites to click on one or the other to be able to add your voice to the discussion. You know, going on to that with communication and two-way communication back into the village, there could even be websites or a platform that's established where if we could put this out maybe a little bit sooner, that there's certain residents who may not have the, call it courage, to get up and stand in front of a board and speak. They may not have the time because of their commitments, their job, their children, to go to the board meetings and speak. And what they could do is they could read the Cliff's Notes version. They could go into this data dump and then be able to pull out the information, and then maybe they could communicate their opinions on this other resource so that their voice is also heard within our community. I think communication is the utmost important thing that an elected official needs to have when it comes to their constituency. Because at the end of the day, an elected official's job is to, one, represent the people, and two, to protect the people. And how do you have an engaged community if people are either not able to share their voice or able to understand what this is? I mean, good God, look at this thing. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just, it's difficult for people to get there. We need to meet people where they are. And right now, I'm not sure that we're doing it.
Transparency has been one of the cornerstones of my inauguration since I got elected. One of the very first things that I wanted to do was to address the issue of transparency in the village. And I had a conversation with the village manager, and I wanted to throw ourselves on the sword of the Illinois Policy Institute to see where it was that we needed to increase our transparency levels and communication and engagement with the residents. This is one packet. This isn't every packet, because I get every packet, so I can tell you that it's not. One of the things we did was we redid our website. We made our website more resident-friendly. We actually have a transparency portal on it where you can click, search, find anything with a couple of keywords. We also engaged a Facebook page. We all have, the village has a Facebook page, multiple departments have Facebook pages. I have a sharing Facebook page. I don't disagree with Alex if it was 4 years ago, but what we've also done was with these packets, every item on the packet has a cover sheet. If you think it was bad for you to do it, it was bad for all of us. None of us are trained attorneys on any of the boards and staffs. But the requirements of the meetings require that we put in this stuff here, which is statistics and drawings and stuff like that. We get it. But we provided, there was none of that. We had to wade through this as well, just like everybody else did. So what we did was we have cover pages for everyone. They include the recommendation and the pros and some of the cons and a discussion of what the issue is, so that you don't have to read the packet. You can read the simple one-page or maybe a two-page analysis of what the item is. In addition to that, we're always looking to improve the communication level, engage the residents in additional information. So we've upgraded the website. We've added the Facebook pages. We're on Twitter. We've done everything that we can to engage the residents. When an issue comes up that's we expect it to be a controversial issue, we go out and we'll create a situation where the residents can come in and give us their information. Now, Alex, is this the one is this your issue here with the apartments in front of your house?
It's not my issue, but it's one issue in our downtown.
Yeah, is that the one though?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, that's the one.
Well, actually not, there's two of them in here too. There's
Okay,
another one.
so there's two issues. There's two issues or two packets in
Two
there?
packets.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is one packet here, and this is part of it, so.
Okay, well, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's one packet.
And so we do provide the Cliff Note versions of this. And as a result of the efforts that we took from having admittedly poor communication, we got to the point where we did put ourselves on the Illinois Policy Institute and were awarded a transparency award from the Illinois Policy Institute. We again put ourselves in front of it and got even a higher award. So we're one of 7 communities, 7% of the communities in the whole state of Illinois that even has this award. So while we're not perfect in any stretch of the imagination, we've gone out of our way to improve that in the last 4 years since I've been mayor. It didn't exist before.